Chosen one, listen, heaven interrupts again. This is the second time the message comes to you. And this time, the pause in your spirit is not coincidence. It is divine intervention. The same stirring that touched your heart once before has returned, louder, clearer, and undeniable. You can feel it, can't you? The stillness in the air, the way time seems to hold its breath around you right now. It's because heaven has leaned in. You may have scrolled past the first message, shrugged it off, or whispered, maybe later. But heaven doesn't whisper twice unless it's urgent. You are not hearing this again by chance. You are hearing it because God has decided to give you another chance. The same light that called your name before now burns brighter, refusing to let you slip away into distraction. You are not like the rest. You were never meant to blend in, never meant to drift unseen in the sea of the ordinary. Every delay, every doubt, every unanswered question has brought you to this exact second. Heaven is saying, this is it. Listen this time. You've carried battles no one saw, smiled through storms that could have broken lesser souls. But the reason you're still standing is not survival, it's destiny. You are chosen. Every pain, every sleepless night was divine preparation for this moment of awakening. The first message came when you were still running, still uncertain. This second one arrives now because heaven knows you are finally ready to receive what you once could not. This is your confirmation. You asked for a sign, this is it. Listen. Chosen one, when heaven repeats itself, it's not because God forgot what he said. It's because you are too important to lose. The second sending is not about your failure, it's about his faithfulness. Mercy has a voice, and it calls you by name. And right now, that voice wraps around your spirit like light breaking through the night. It says, return to me. It says, your story isn't finished. This repetition is redemption, your reminder that grace still waits, arms open, whispering, come home. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will surely come. You see, heaven never wastes words. Every divine echo has purpose. You are standing at the intersection between what was delayed and what is about to be delivered. The message is not just a call, it's a rescue. This second time is your divine redirection, your second wind, your second chance at alignment. Do not let fear silence your response again. The first time, fear told you you weren't ready. The first time, doubt convinced you to wait. But this time, you respond. This time you say yes. Heaven has paused everything around you because your obedience is about to unlock what was sealed. You have been marked, and that mark doesn't fade. You carry an anointing that cannot be hidden forever. This is not about religion or ritual. This is about recognition, the moment when the Creator looks at you and says, now. Your spirit knows it's true. That deep trembling inside you is not anxiety, it's awakening. It's the sound of your purpose shaking free from procrastination. The same hands that formed galaxies are reaching out for your surrender. And when you respond, when you truly say, I'm ready, Lord, the atmosphere around your life begins to shift. Doors once sealed will begin to move. You will feel the release in your chest, the peace in your mind, the power returning to your spirit. Because heaven does not call twice unless it's your time to rise. So, take a breath. Let go of what held you back before. Lift your head and know you are hearing this because heaven has chosen you again. Now, if these words are finding you, if you know this message is for you, then act. Do not delay. Like this message, share it so others may awaken too. And comment below with the number 77, the mark of divine completion and alignment. Then subscribe to stay connected to this flow of heavenly truth, because heaven is not done speaking to you yet. This is your second call, and this time, you will answer. You remember it now. The first time the message came, it wasn't through thunder or lightning. It was quiet, like the brush of wind through leaves. A thought too sacred to be coincidence, but you pushed it aside. You told yourself it was imagination, or timing, or coincidence wrapped in emotion. Yet here you are again, and heaven's voice hasn't changed, only your ears have. The missed moment still lingers in your memory, like a song you once knew by heart but forgot how to hum. That first time, heaven spoke softly, almost tenderly, because mercy prefers to whisper before it shakes. You were busy then, caught in survival, distracted by noise, unsure of what was real. You prayed for confirmation, then overlooked it when it came. You asked for direction, but fear told you to wait for a clearer sign. And so, the message was shelved, sacred words left unread. But heaven doesn't forget the messages you ignore. Divine instruction never expires, it only waits for your heart to be ready. That's why it has come again. Not to shame you, but to remind you, delay is not denial. But delay can become danger when obedience is postponed too long. You see, heaven's voice is patient, but it is not endless. There comes a moment when the gentle nudge becomes a divine insistence, when grace refuses to let you hide behind excuses any longer. You are at that moment now. The repetition is mercy dressed in urgency, not anger. The missed moment is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your awakening. You can feel that something sacred was left unfinished, a page that heaven is now rewriting through your obedience. And this time, you are not being asked to earn it. You are being asked to accept it. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 24. Everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built on the rock. You see, the hearing was never the issue. The doing was. The first time, you heard the words but didn't act. The foundation remained soft, and when storms came, parts of you crumbled. But now heaven has given you another blueprint. You are being invited to build again. Stronger, surer, steadier. This is the mystery of divine repetition. It comes to reveal that what you thought was lost can still be redeemed. The second message always carries double meaning, both warning and promise. It says, you missed it once, but not this time. So now remember the signs you ignored. Remember how your spirit stirred when you first heard that still small voice. How your dreams aligned with divine timing. How your heart knew something holy was calling. It wasn't confusion, it was calling. You just weren't ready to recognize the sound. Now you are. That's why the message found you again, not because heaven repeats itself for entertainment, but because heaven never wastes what's meant to be fulfilled. You are still the chosen vessel for this assignment. The purpose has not been reassigned. It's been preserved, waiting for your maturity to meet your anointing. And look at you now, no longer running, no longer trying to fit where you don't belong. You have grown. The wilderness taught you what comfort never could. The silence taught you discernment. The pain taught you depth. Every delay has prepared you for this second hearing. Do not mourn what you missed. Redeem it. The same God who watched you ignore the first call has now sent his Spirit to ensure you don't ignore the second. And this time, you won't. This time, your heart beats in rhythm with heaven's timing. The missed moment has transformed into a mirror. It reflects who you were and who you are becoming. You now understand why heaven waited until now, because now you are ready to obey without demanding proof. You are ready to trust without seeing the full picture. You are ready to move not because you have answers, but because you have faith. Every divine delay carries a lesson, and yours was simple yet profound. The first call reveals your potential, but the second call activates your purpose. You have lived long enough under preparation. Now begins your participation in the promise. Heaven doesn't hold grudges, it holds plans, and those plans are still alive, still waiting for your agreement. You may have missed the first moment, but you didn't miss your destiny. So take this second message and write it deep within your spirit. Let it echo louder than regret, stronger than fear, clearer than doubt. This time, you will not turn away. This time, you will not hesitate. Heaven sent it again because it believes in you. That whisper, it never truly left you, did it? It followed you through the noise, through the busyness, through the quiet hours when the world was asleep and your soul refused to rest. The whisper you tried to forget was not a memory. It was a living word still breathing inside your spirit. Heaven doesn't shout when you wander, it waits, then whispers again. The same voice that found Moses in the wilderness, Elijah in the cave, and Mary in her stillness is now reaching for you again. It's gentle, almost fragile, yet impossible to ignore. It comes wrapped not in thunder but in tenderness, heaven's way of saying, I haven't given up on you. When you heard it the first time, you mistook it for coincidence. You thought it was your mind playing tricks, your own thoughts echoing back. But now you know better. The whisper that will not fade is not born of imagination. It is the Spirit of God calling you back into alignment. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 33, verse 3, Call to me and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know. That's what this moment is the answer. You've called out in confusion, in pain, in silence, and heaven is responding with a familiar tone, a repetition that carries revelation. You weren't being ignored, you were being invited deeper. You see, divine whispers come when noise is finally exhausted. Heaven waits until the clamor of the world fades before it speaks again. And now that you've come to the end of your explanations, heaven begins to explain. There's something sacred about the second whisper. It doesn't just remind you, it restores you. It doesn't condemn, it corrects with compassion. When you tried to forget it, heaven waited patiently, but it never stopped speaking your name. Even in your rebellion, it repeated your calling. You may think you've gone too far, done too much, waited too long, but heaven never wastes a whisper. The voice that started this journey is still calling, still offering clarity, still saying, come back to the center. When you tried to bury the first message under doubt, distraction, and denial, God simply waited for silence to return, because silence is where whispers are heard best. Now that you hear it again, don't harden your heart. Don't say, maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, but grace is here now. The whisper is God's way of saying that mercy still breathes your name. Do you remember what it said? It wasn't about fame or comfort or success. It was about purpose. It was about surrender. It was heaven asking for a yes from a heart that didn't yet understand the cost. That's why the whisper returned, because this time, you're ready to understand. And maybe that's why you can feel that strange weight in your chest right now. The trembling behind your ribs, it's recognition. Your spirit knows this sound, and it's not new. It's ancient, eternal. The same voice that spoke light into existence now reminding you that light still lives in you. You've heard voices that criticized you, lied to you, made you doubt yourself. But this voice, it heals. It doesn't argue. It affirms. It says, I was there when you broke, and I'm still here now. This whisper is the bridge between your yesterday and your tomorrow. It's heaven saying, I'm not done writing your story. So listen carefully, chosen one. Don't run from what's familiar in your spirit. That echo is heaven's way of reclaiming its own. And now, as you read these words, you are standing in the space between your old silence and your new sound. The whisper you tried to forget has found you again because it refuses to lose you. Take a deep breath. Feel it stir within you. It's not weakness, it's awakening. That trembling is the birth of recognition. The holy reminder that you are still seen, still known, still chosen. Heaven repeats what's too important to miss. This whisper is the pulse of your destiny. So pause and respond in your own way. Don't just think about it, acknowledge it. Speak it into being. In the comments, type "I'm listening." Because when you declare that, you're not just typing words, you're aligning with heaven's frequency. You're telling the spirit that the noise of the world has finally lost its hold, that you are ready to hear again. And as you do, the whisper will grow louder, not in sound, but in certainty. You'll begin to recognize divine timing in ordinary moments, divine messages in simple things, divine purpose in your very breath. For the voice that spoke once now speaks again, not to remind you of failure, but to announce your return. The whisper has found its echo in you. The signs have been there all along, woven quietly into the rhythm of your days, hidden in moments that seemed meaningless at first glance. You saw them in numbers that repeated, in dreams that wouldn't fade, in the timing of events that felt too precise to be random. Heaven has been speaking in symbols, waiting for you to notice the pattern behind the chaos. What others called coincidence, your spirit called confirmation. Every repeated sequence, every unexpected encounter, every strange alignment was a language of its own. Heaven's language, encoded in everyday life. The same way stars form constellations when viewed from the right angle, your experiences begin to connect into divine design. You are not losing your mind. You are awakening to meaning. Those flickers of recognition, those moments when your heart races for no clear reason, that is your soul remembering what heaven already knows. You are walking in the trail of breadcrumbs God left behind to lead you back to purpose. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 19. This day I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live. That is what these signs have always been, a choice offered again and again. Every divine echo invites a decision to keep wandering or to finally walk in alignment. Heaven does not force obedience, it reveals opportunity. You have been shown enough to know this is not coincidence. It is invitation. Think back to the moments you brushed off. The dream that replayed 3 times. The song that found you at the exact right moment. The person who said something they couldn't have known you needed to hear. Those were not accidents. They were messengers wrapped in ordinary skin. You see, chosen ones live in layers of meaning others overlook. Where the world sees randomness, you see rhythm. Where others see chance, you see choreography. That's what it means to carry divine sight. Everything becomes communication. Even silence can be a sign. When the world grew quiet, when your prayers felt unanswered, heaven was not absent, it was signaling stillness, teaching you how to recognize its whisper. The unanswered moments were preparation, not punishment. Do you remember the times you almost gave up? Then something small happened, something that felt like reassurance. That was heaven's hand reaching through the veil. The message may have been delayed, but it was never denied. Every symbol, every repeated vision, every unexpected alignment was heaven's echo saying, "You are still on course. You might have doubted, but heaven never did. The second time around, the signs became louder, the confirmations undeniable, because grace refuses to be ignored. This is how God works with His chosen ones. He doesn't just speak once and leave you guessing. He teaches you to recognize His tone, His rhythm, His methods. Each repetition draws your spirit closer, tuning you to His frequency. And that's why you've been seeing the same themes, hearing the same phrases, feeling the same pull, because heaven has been setting the stage for your obedience. This time, the signs aren't random flashes, they're coordinates guiding you back to the exact place where you first drifted. Don't dismiss what feels repetitive. Repetition is heaven's emphasis. It means, don't miss this. The divine operates like a symphony, each symbol a note, each encounter a melody, all forming the same unending song, come back to alignment. And now you begin to realize that every unanswered prayer, every repeated number, every coincidence was a language of mercy. Heaven was never trying to confuse you, it was trying to comfort you, reminding you that even when you weren't listening, it was still speaking. You are surrounded by evidence of divine order. Nothing in your journey has been wasted, not the detours, not the delays, not the doubts. Every piece fits perfectly once viewed from heaven's angle. Chosen one, you are not crazy for seeing patterns. You are simply tuned in. You are not imagining things, you are discerning them. The repetition is proof that your connection remains open, that heaven is still investing in your awareness. So, as you move forward, remember these signs are not sent to entertain, they are sent to awaken. Each one asks for a response, a recognition, a return. Look again. What you thought was ordinary is holy. What seemed random is revelation. The signs you couldn't ignore are heaven's fingerprints on your timeline. And now that you see them clearly, you can no longer pretend you don't. The echo has become a voice, the coincidence a command. Heaven has spoken, and this time you will recognize every sign for what it truly is, a divine reminder that your steps are ordered, your moments are watched, and your purpose has been calling your name all along. Mercy repeats before it withdraws. That is the truth heaven is impressing upon your heart now. You can feel it, the weight of divine compassion still resting over you, but with a new kind of seriousness. It's not condemnation, it's clarity. Heaven is saying, I am giving you another moment to respond before the silence becomes permanent. There is a sacred rhythm to mercy. It calls, it waits. It calls again, and if ignored too long, it steps back. The echo you hear tonight is not just a message, it is a lifeline. You are standing in the space between repetition and withdrawal. Heaven is speaking one more time before the door begins to close. Think of rain. When it first falls, it softens the ground. When it continues, it nourishes. But if the earth stays hardened, even the rain begins to run off instead of sinking in. That is how grace works. It flows to those who open, but it slides past those who resist. Beloved chosen one, heaven is raining on you again. Don't let this be the downpour that passes you by. Let it soak into the deepest soil of your heart. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 103, verse 8. The Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love. Do you see the beauty in that God does not withdraw suddenly? He waits, He warns, He whispers, but He will not whisper forever. There comes a time when heaven must move forward, and it longs for you to move with it. This moment, the fact that you are still here, still reading, still breathing, is proof that mercy is still flowing. Heaven could have moved on, but it didn't. It sent the message again, through different words, a different day, the same unrelenting love. Mercy is like a lighthouse. It doesn't chase the ship, it stands, steady, shining, hoping the lost vessel will find its way home before it's too late. That's what heaven is doing for you now. It is standing, unshaken, holding the light while you decide whether to turn toward it. You can feel the pull, can't you? That trembling, that warmth in your chest, it's not fear, it's conviction wrapped in love. Heaven is saying, you are still redeemable, you are still mine. But hear this, mercy is not weakness. Mercy has boundaries. It invites you to step in, but it will not force you. It is gentle, but it is not indefinite. When you feel the voice growing quieter, when conviction feels rare, that is heaven's final call before silence. So, respond while the door is still open. Don't wait for the silence to teach you what surrender could have saved you from. And, chosen one, as you receive this, remember that every divine word you encounter is meant to be shared. Light grows only when passed from one flame to another. Just as mercy multiplies through testimony, so does truth spread when you become a vessel for it. If these words touch your heart, if they help you breathe again, or remind you that you are still seen, then take a moment to give back to the flow that's reaching you. Like a tree returning seed to soil, your small act keeps the orchard of grace alive for others who are still lost in the dark. You can like this message not for vanity, but as an act of agreement, saying, yes, I receive this. You can share it because somewhere, someone is waiting for the same whisper that found you tonight. You can subscribe not for a number, but to stay within the rhythm of heaven's reminders, to keep hearing when the world grows loud again. And if your heart leads you, you can donate not as payment, but as partnership, a way to help this message continue flowing like living water to others who need it most. Your giving, in whatever form, becomes part of the echo. It turns words into waves. It makes the invisible visible again. Think of it as oil poured into a lamp. The light stays burning because someone chose to keep it fueled. That's what you do when you support what heaven is doing through messages like this. You are not funding content, you are sustaining a calling. And as you give, heaven gives back. Not always in gold or in glory, but in guidance, in peace, in the deep knowing that you are part of something eternal. So don't let the echo stop here. Be the one who passes it forward. Keep the light moving, keep the mercy alive, keep the whisper reaching new hearts. Because mercy that is shared multiplies. Mercy that is hoarded fades. And right now, heaven has chosen you to be both the receiver and the messenger of its grace. Let this section be your reminder you are not too late. Mercy has called again, but it will not call forever. Answer while the light is still warm. The weight of rebellion, it's not a visible burden, yet your soul feels it, heavy like chains made of silence. You've known this feeling before, the unease that comes when you delay obedience, when heaven speaks and you pretend not to hear. It doesn't happen all at once. Disobedience rarely shouts, it whispers, convincing you there's still time. But the truth is, time has been whispering back, counting down the moments of grace that remain. When heaven sends a message twice, it's not a routine reminder, it's a rescue. But even rescues can be refused. The Spirit of God gives warning not to punish, but to prevent the blindness that comes when conviction fades. There is nothing more dangerous for a chosen one than spiritual numbness when what once stirred your soul no longer moves you. That numbness is not peace, it's distance. The first time you heard this message, you were distracted. The second time, you are being tested. Heaven wants to see if you will finally respond without conditions. The ancient words recorded in Romans still echo today. Chapter 6, verse 16. Do you not know that when you offer yourselves to someone as obedient slaves, you are slaves of the one you obey, whether you are slaves to sin, which leads to death, or to obedience, which leads to righteousness? That's the choice standing before you now. Every act of rebellion, every hesitation, every not yet creates a spiritual alignment with something other than heaven. The longer you delay, the more authority you give to what was never meant to rule over you. You were created to be light, but light can dim if it hides too long under fear. Heaven keeps calling not because you are stubborn, but because you are significant. Your obedience affects more than your own destiny, it affects generations, spiritual territories, and unseen battles. When a chosen one rebels, the ripple travels far. Angels pause, demons celebrate. But when that same chosen one returns, heaven erupts. That's how powerful your yes is. You may not have bowed to idols of gold, but you've bowed to fear. You may not have spoken rebellion with your lips, but hesitation has spoken louder than words. Heaven is saying now, I am calling you to break the silence before it becomes your prison. You feel it deep in your spirit, that tug that says, this is for me. That's not guilt. That's grace asking for permission to re-enter your story. There's still time, but the window narrows. Every moment of delay gives darkness a foothold it doesn't deserve. You know the sound of that inner conflict, the battle between your desire and your destiny. It's not a coincidence that you're feeling it again right now. Heaven is saying, choose obedience while the light still shines. Disobedience is costly. It drains peace first, then clarity, then purpose. You start wondering why your prayers sound hollow, why your vision feels blurred, why your joy flickers instead of burns. That's what distance does. It numbs the fire that was meant to guide you. But it's not too late to turn. The same voice that once warned you now offers you renewal. God doesn't repeat to condemn, He repeats to restore. The weight you feel is not punishment. It's the pressure of transformation. You're not breaking down, you're being broken open. Every act of obedience reclaims lost ground. Each surrender reopens what rebellion tried to seal. Heaven is not asking for perfection, it's asking for a decision. And so, chosen one, if these words pierce your spirit, don't let shame silence you. Respond with a symbol that heaven can recognize, a prophetic act that says, I choose obedience this time. Type the number 555 in the comments. Because 555 represents divine grace multiplied the number of change ordained by heaven itself. It declares, I'm ready to move, I'm ready to align, I'm ready to obey. When you comment that number, it isn't superstition, it's surrender in code. It's a way of saying, I will not delay again. You are aligning your digital echo with your spiritual, yet remember, heaven records response, not emotion. Feelings fade, but obedience leaves a mark on eternity. So if you've been running, stop. If you've been hesitating, move. The call hasn't changed, but this time, the stakes have. Rebellion has a weight, but repentance has wings. The moment you say yes, the chains fall quietly, the fog lifts, and heaven's light begins to pulse inside you again. You'll feel it, the release, the clarity, the peace that only comes when a soul stops fighting its own calling. Chosen one, this is not the end. This is the moment before your freedom. The weight you feel is not meant to crush you, it's meant to remind you how strong your spirit is when aligned with divine truth. Lift your head. Breathe. Decide. This time, you don't walk away from the message, you walk into it. Heaven is waiting, watching, whispering once more. Obey while mercy still lingers. The enemy knew too. From the very moment heaven spoke the first time, Darkness felt the vibration. The message that came to you wasn't only heard by your spirit, it was detected by everything that wished to keep you from awakening. That's why confusion suddenly surrounded you the first time you received it. That's why the moment you were closest to obedience, distractions multiplied. The enemy does not fight the ordinary, he fights the chosen. He does not waste energy on those drifting without direction, he targets those on the verge of discovery. You have felt that pressure, haven't you? The sudden chaos that erupted just when peace was about to bloom. That wasn't bad luck, it was strategy. Darkness recognized what you were about to become. When heaven sends a message, hell scrambles to intercept it, not because it can silence God's voice, but because it hopes to distort how you hear it. The goal is not to destroy your calling, it's to confuse your confidence in it. And so the enemy sent noise, exhaustion, people who misunderstood you, opportunities that turned sour, moments that made you doubt whether you heard right the first time. It's no accident that the first message felt blurry. You were in a battle disguised as daily life. Every distraction was spiritual interference. Every false peace was an invitation to settle. Every attack was a clue that you were onto something holy. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you, you need only to be still. You see, every chosen one goes through the season of distortion. Before Moses led a people, Pharaoh tried to silence him. Before Jesus began his ministry, the wilderness tried to starve him. Before you could fully step into your destiny, confusion had to test your conviction. The enemy knows your potential better than you sometimes do. He saw the light before you understood its power. He knew if you ever responded to heaven's second message, you would become unstoppable. That's why he sent emotional fatigue, false friendships, hidden temptation, anything to keep you numb. But here's the truth, the enemy can delay, but he cannot deny. He can confuse, but he cannot cancel. What heaven has declared, no darkness can dissolve. Think about it, why do you think your battles intensified after you ignored the first message? Because heaven was preparing to repeat it, and hell knew that the second time could awaken your full authority. The attacks weren't random, they were rehearsals for your resilience. You've learned to recognize this now. You can feel when peace is being challenged, when clarity is under siege. You've learned that not every closed door is rejection, and not every open one is invitation. You've learned to test the spirits, to pause before reacting, to pray before speaking. That's the mark of a maturing chosen one, wisdom birthed from warfare. The enemy's tactics have changed, but so have you. You've grown sharper. You've started to notice when people drain your energy, when opportunities distract you from your purpose. You've learned to say no, to walk away, to guard your peace as if it were treasure. Because it is. And here's the secret, hell never wants you to realize the very thing the enemy used to confuse you has become your training ground. What once intimidated you now informs you. The same confusion that once silenced you now sharpens your discernment. Every failed attempt, every false path, every sleepless night, it all turned into armor. So don't resent the battle, respect it. The war over your attention has revealed how valuable your calling truly is. Heaven wouldn't repeat a message unless it carried eternal weight. The enemy wouldn't resist it unless it was about to shift something cosmic. You have seen what distraction costs. You felt what delays steal, but now you see the pattern clearly. The attacks were never random, they were always reactive. They began the moment heaven said your name. But here's where the tide turns, awareness is your weapon. Once you see the scheme, it loses its strength. You can no longer be manipulated by confusion you've already named. So be still. The battle is not yours to fight, it's yours to outlast. Stand firm in the stillness of faith. Every time you choose peace over panic, truth over noise, obedience over delay, heaven wins another inch of ground through you. And soon, you will look back on all the storms that tried to silence you and realize they were proof that your calling terrified darkness. That's why it came for you early, hard, and often, but it failed. The message still stands. The whisper still speaks. The second call still echoes through your spirit. And this time, nothing the enemy sends can drown it out. The second summons comes not as a whisper this time, but as a voice that fills the very space around you. It isn't merely heard, it's felt. The air thickens with recognition, and your spirit knows before your mind can catch up. Heaven is calling your name again, not just a name, but your name. The sound carries authority, and this time, there is no mistaking who it's for. When heaven calls a second time, the tone changes. The first call invited, the second commissions. The first one asked, "Will you come?" The second one declares, "You are chosen." This is not a plea, it's an announcement. You are being claimed. You are being marked. This is what the ancients understood, that when God speaks twice, He is sealing something eternal. The first word awakens, the second word establishes. You are not standing in uncertainty, now you are standing in appointment. Heaven speaks again through the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 1. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have summoned you by name. You are mine. You see, this isn't just a moment of revelation, it's recognition. Heaven knew you before you knew yourself. The one who formed you has never forgotten the blueprint He placed inside you. Every talent, every instinct, every gift you thought was random, it was design. This second call is heaven unfolding that design again, reminding you what has always been written. When heaven calls, it doesn't need to shout. It speaks once, and the universe adjusts. The winds remember who commands them. The seas recall their limits. And now, your life begins to rearrange itself around that same sound. Circumstances shift, relationships realign, opportunities awaken. Because the voice that spoke creation into being has spoken you into destiny once more. You have heard many names in your life, labels given by pain, opinions, failure, but now you are hearing your real one. The name heaven calls you by is not the name your mistakes remember. It is the name your purpose recognizes. And when that name is spoken, even darkness has to let you go. This second summons is heaven's way of reclaiming what was drifting. You were never lost. You were hidden until the right time. Now, the seal is being broken, and the appointed moment is upon you. Everything that resisted you before will now reveal its reason. Every delay will make sense in the light of this calling. You might feel unprepared, but that is how heaven works. The called are rarely ready, they are refined through obedience. The second call doesn't wait for your perfection, it activates your preparation. The moment you respond, heaven provides what you lack. Notice how the summons feels this time. It doesn't plead for attention, it demands alignment. You are no longer a wanderer listening for a sign. You are a soldier receiving orders. The same mercy that whispered now stands with authority, declaring your assignment into existence. And yet, even in its power, there is tenderness. Heaven's voice never carries arrogance, it carries ownership. It doesn't say, "You belong to a cause," it says, "You belong to me." There is intimacy in that declaration, love hidden in command, mercy wrapped in mission. This is why your spirit trembles even as your heart feels peace. Heaven's presence always holds both weight and warmth, power and gentleness. The trembling isn't fear, It's recognition that something eternal has entered your temporary world. You are being called not just to believe, but to embody. Heaven's purpose must now move through your hands, your voice, your decisions. The call is not about hearing, it's about becoming. And yes, the weight of this realization may feel overwhelming, but remember, you were built for it. Everything in your story, the rejection, the heartbreak, the waiting, was training for this moment of recognition. The pain that once silenced you now becomes the platform from which heaven's echo will resound. This second summons carries a charge: do not go back to sleep. Once heaven calls your name twice, you cannot return to normal. The veil has been lifted. You see too much now to pretend blindness. And as you stand here, caught between awe and responsibility, you realize that being chosen isn't about privilege, it's about purpose. Heaven doesn't select favorites, it assigns missions. You are one of those missions come alive. You were not chosen to be comfortable. You were chosen to carry fire, to walk into cold places and bring warmth, to step into silence and speak life. This is why your path has never been ordinary. This is why peace never felt complete in places that lacked presence. You have always belonged here in this moment of calling, in this sacred tension between heaven's authority and your obedience. Every breaking point carries both agony and awakening. You've been walking through pressure that felt unbearable, seasons that seemed to stretch your faith past its limits. Yet here you stand, breathing, breaking, rebuilding. Heaven never left you, it was shaping you. You thought you were being crushed, but you were actually being carved. The pain that tried to destroy you became the tool that refined you. Chosen one. This is the moment heaven shows you what the breaking was for. It was never punishment. It was purification. Every tear watered the soil of your next season. Every disappointment dismantled pride that would have hindered your growth. Every loss removed what couldn't walk with you into your future. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 24, verse 16. For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, but the wicked stumble when calamity strikes. You have fallen. Yes, but you did not stay down. You are living proof that resilience is divine. Every time you thought it was over, heaven whispered, "Not yet." Every time you questioned if there was any strength left in you, heaven proved there was more. The breaking did not come to destroy you, it came to reveal what was unbreakable within you. Look back on your storms, the ones that left you breathless, trembling, confused. You didn't realize it then, but every storm was an instructor. They taught you what peace truly meant, not the absence of chaos, but the presence of divine stillness in the middle of it. When you were stripped of everything familiar, you discovered what could never be taken: your spirit, your faith, your connection to the eternal. That's the paradox of being chosen. You lose much, but you gain something greater than what was lost. This breaking point has not come to end you, it has come to launch you. You are at the threshold where pain turns into purpose, where crushing becomes calling. You are not at the edge of destruction. You are at the edge of destiny. The gold of heaven is refined by fire, and you, chosen one, have been through the furnace. But now the fire shifts. It's no longer burning you. It's burning through you. The same heat that once hurt now empowers. You carry divine radiance forged in adversity. You are beginning to realize that survival was never the goal. Transformation was. You are not meant to go back to what was. You are meant to rise into what's next. The breaking point was a birth canal. You were being delivered into a higher dimension of faith. Every pain, every betrayal, every sleepless night was a chiseling process. Heaven was sculpting something eternal inside you. You had to be emptied before you could be filled with glory. Now, when you speak, others will feel the weight of what you've walked through. Your words will carry authority because they were paid for in tears. Your presence will bring peace because you've wrestled with storms and survived. This moment, this breaking, is sacred. It's heaven saying, you've proven you can carry the fire. Don't resent the pain that purified you. Don't curse the season that taught you strength. The same ground where you once wept will soon be the place you dance. The ashes you thought were the end will become the soil of your new beginning. And as you read these words, if something inside you stirs, if you feel that trembling again, that's the holy confirmation that your breaking point is actually your birthing point. You've made it through the hardest part. Now you must rise. Type I rise. Because those two words are not just affirmation, they are activation. They are your spiritual declaration that the storm did not win, that the breaking was not final, that the same God who allowed the pressure is the one who is now releasing the promise. When you write, I rise, you're agreeing with heaven's timing. You're saying, I accept the transformation. I won't mourn what's gone. I'll move toward what's coming. Every time a chosen one rises, the atmosphere shifts. Every time you choose resurrection over regret, darkness loses ground. So rise not in arrogance, but in gratitude. Rise with your scars as testimonies, not reminders of pain. Rise with quiet confidence, knowing that every fall had purpose, because heaven does not abandon what it invests in. And God has invested deeply in you. You are not broken beyond repair. You are broken open for rebirth. This is not the aftermath, it's the ascension. The breaking point was the doorway. And now that you have walked through it, heaven calls you by a new name risen. Rise, chosen one. You've reached the turning point where heaven no longer whispers, it commands. The dust of old failures falls from you like scales, and what once felt impossible now feels inevitable. You were not meant to crawl through eternity. You were meant to stand. And now, that divine command resounds, rise. When heaven says rise, then it is not merely telling you to stand taller, it's telling you to reclaim ground. Every step you take now is a declaration that you survived what was meant to silence you. Every breath you draw is rebellion against the darkness that once thought it owned you. The Word of God declares in the book of Micah, chapter 7, verse 8, Do not gloat over me, my enemy, though I have fallen, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord is my light. Rising is not a moment, it's a movement. It's the daily act of choosing faith over fear, forgiveness over bitterness, and progress over paralysis. When heaven calls you to rise, it's not only for yourself, it's so that others can see the reflection of God's mercy in your story. Think of a phoenix. It doesn't mourn the ashes, it uses them. It spreads its wings, burns brighter, and takes flight again. That's you now. You're not rising despite the ashes, you're rising because of them. Every flame that once tried to destroy you has purified you instead. And as you rise, the world watches. Some will misunderstand, some will resist, but others will be saved because of your obedience. That's why heaven keeps investing in your rise. You are a lighthouse being rebuilt after a storm, and when your light shines again, ships long lost in the dark will find their way home. But chosen one, understand this rising comes with responsibility. When you rise, you carry others with you. Your story becomes seed. Your testimony becomes shelter. That is why your obedience matters not for vanity, but for legacy. And that's why this message must continue to flow, like a river carrying life downstream. If this stream has refreshed your soul, if these words have met you in your wilderness, then help keep the river alive. You can like this message, not as a gesture of habit, but as a quiet amen, your way of saying, I received this truth. You can share it, because someone else is still drowning in the silence you've just escaped. Be the ripple that brings them air. You can subscribe, not for entertainment, but to stay anchored in a rhythm of reminders to keep heaven's frequency close when the world grows loud again. And yes, if your heart feels led, you can donate not as charity, but as partnership. Your gift becomes the oil that keeps this lamp burning. Think of it like feeding the flame that once found you in the dark, ensuring it burns brightly enough to reach someone else who needs it next. It's not about transaction, it's transformation. Every seed you sow becomes a spark in someone else's night. Every act of generosity turns this message from a moment into a movement. You are part of that movement now. You are not just the listener. You are the living continuation of the message. You are the echo heaven is releasing into the earth. When you rise, the air around you changes. Doubt begins to lose its grip. The ground that trembled under you now trembles before you. You were once waiting for a miracle. Now you are the miracle heaven is sending into other lives. Do you feel it, that surge in your chest, that warmth spreading through your spirit? That's resurrection energy. It's the pulse of divine restoration. You're no longer surviving, you're ascending. So walk forward with reverence and confidence. You are not who you were when the message first came. The same eyes that once searched for confirmation now carry conviction. The same hands that trembled now build. The same voice that whispered prayers in secret will soon speak peace to others. Heaven is proud of you, not because you were flawless, but because you kept getting up. You rose again and again, even when no one was watching. That persistence is your praise. And as you continue to rise, remember you're not rising alone. Every like, every share, every subscription, every offering becomes a bridge connecting souls who are awakening to the same call. Together, we rise not as isolated flames, but as a constellation of chosen ones lighting the sky. Rise, chosen one, rise and stay risen. The world is darker than ever, but so are the nights before dawn, and your light, born of ashes, is the proof that dawn is near. The prophetic rewind begins not to shame you for the past, but to show you how perfectly everything has been orchestrated. Heaven takes your story, thread by thread, and begins to reveal the divine pattern hidden beneath the chaos. Suddenly, what once felt like coincidence begins to look like choreography. Every heartbreak, every delay, every wrong turn, it all carried purpose you couldn't see until now. You are being allowed to look back, but this time with spiritual sight. The rewind isn't punishment, it's revelation. It's heaven saying, see, I was there all along. As you walk through these memories, you'll start to notice divine fingerprints where you once saw only emptiness. The places where you cried alone weren't deserted, they were classrooms. The people who rejected you weren't your enemies, they were instructors. Even the silence that once haunted you was the sound of heaven rearranging your path. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old. In Genesis chapter 50, verse 20, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. That single verse is the lens through which heaven now rewinds your life. What the enemy designed to break you, God transformed into building blocks. Every betrayal became a boundary. Every closed door became redirection. Every detour became divine delay timed so that when your promise finally came, you would have the strength to sustain it. You once wondered why the first message from heaven didn't change everything immediately. But now you understand it was never about instant transformation. It was about gradual revelation. Heaven never rushes destiny. It ripens it. Think back on the moments that once made no sense, the job that ended abruptly, the friendship that faded, the season that emptied your hands. You cried over loss, but heaven was making space for legacy. You were being pruned, not punished. You couldn't see the fruit yet because pruning always precedes harvest. And now, as you watch the rewind unfold, you realize the divine sequence was never broken. You see that even your delays were calculated, your detours were holy, and your disappointments were divine disguises. This is the beauty of heaven's perspective. It doesn't erase the pain, it redeems it. It turns every scar into a scripture, every fall into a prophecy of resilience. You're no longer haunted by why, you're humbled by how. How the same heart that was shattered learned to love again. How the same spirit that was weary learned to hope again. How the same path that felt cursed became consecrated. You are witnessing your own redemption in motion. The rewind isn't showing you what went wrong, it's showing you what was right all along. You've always been part of a larger narrative. You just couldn't see the author's hand while living inside the chapter. Heaven is now letting you step outside the page to read the story as it was meant to be seen. Complete, beautiful, intentional. You remember the first time heaven spoke and you doubted it was real. You remember the second time when conviction settled deeper. And now, in this third awakening, you realize that the message wasn't changing, it was you who was evolving to finally receive it. Every season of pain gave you new vocabulary for purpose. You learned how to translate loss into language that lifts others. That is the prophetic power of your rewind. It not only explains, it equips. You are being shown the map so that you can guide others who are still lost where you once wandered. The rewind also exposes what tried to hold you back. You'll see faces, moments, and mistakes, but this time, you won't feel anger. You'll feel gratitude. Because even opposition has purpose. The friction that once frustrated you actually forged your endurance. The fire you feared was the forge of your anointing. The pit you fell into was the womb of your rebirth. And so, as heaven replays your life in sacred fragments, you no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstance, but as a vessel of grace. Everything happened for you, not to you. The rewind reminds you that God wastes nothing. Every sigh became a seed. Every tear became an offering. Every no became protection. And every not yet became timing. You have not missed your moment. You have matured into it. The rewind is not the end of your story, it's the prelude to its fulfillment. The warning in the delay, it's one of the hardest truths heaven ever reveals to its chosen ones. For you, chosen one, this part of the journey isn't about comfort anymore. It's about clarity. You have seen how heaven moves slow enough to test your patience, yet precise enough to prove its perfection. But here's the truth: hidden in the waiting delays can become danger when disobedience hides behind excuses. You prayed for confirmation, heaven gave it. You asked for signs, heaven sent them. You wanted peace before obedience, but heaven wanted obedience before peace. That is why you felt stuck, not because God abandoned you, but because heaven will never move forward while you remain still. Delay isn't denial, but delay can drain destiny. Every time you hesitate, something in the unseen realm pauses with you. The angels assigned to your calling wait for your yes, like runners waiting for the sound of the starting gun. Heaven doesn't move until you do. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 7, verse 23. Obey my voice, and I will be your God, and you shall be my people. Walk in all the way that I command you, that it may go well with you. That's the divine equation. Obedience unlocks flow. Disobedience creates stillness. Heaven doesn't withhold blessings to punish. It withholds them to protect timing. But when you wait too long to act, waiting becomes wandering. and wandering can lead to blindness. You've seen this before in your own life. Opportunities that once surrounded you began to fade. Friendships that once flourished grew distant. Vision that once burned bright dimmed quietly. That's what spiritual delay does. It slowly steals momentum. It doesn't break you in a day, it dulls you over time. The warning heaven is giving you now is not harsh, it's holy. It's a wake-up call from mercy itself. Heaven is saying, move now, do not delay again. Delay turns promises into memories. Obedience turns words into manifestation. The moment you respond, divine order returns like rain to dry ground. But if you hesitate too long, even the rain begins to fall elsewhere. This isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to save you. Heaven would rather repeat itself than lose you to stagnation. That's why you're hearing this message a second time. Because the first time, you weren't ready to understand the cost of waiting. When heaven calls and you delay, your heart begins to harden without you noticing. Conviction fades a little, clarity blurs, and soon the fire that once burned turns to embers. That's why the Holy Spirit has come again to fan the flame before it flickers out completely. Chosen one, this delay has already taught you much. You now know that partial obedience is still disobedience. You've learned that good intentions without action are empty. Heaven is reminding you that now is sacred. Now is where transformation happens. You've been standing at the border of breakthrough for too long, watching others cross while you analyze your own worthiness. But you were never called to watch, you were called to walk. And heaven has cleared the way. Do not mistake God's patience for permission to procrastinate. The longer you wait, the heavier your destiny becomes to carry. The promises meant to bless you can begin to feel like burdens when they're held too long. But here's the hope hidden in the warning: it is not too late. The voice that warns also welcomes. The same heaven that corrects also restores. The moment you move, grace rushes back in. And so, if your heart recognizes this message, if something inside you knows this is the moment you've been postponing, respond. Not with emotion, but with intention. Type the number 444 in the comments. Because 444 is the number of divine foundation, heaven's reminder that it's time to rebuild, to realign, to re-anchor, it represents structure returning to chaos, purpose reclaiming what delay tried to dismantle. When you type that number, you are declaring to heaven, I will no longer delay. This isn't superstition, it's symbolism. It's a visible echo of your invisible obedience. It's your way of saying, Lord, I am ready to move. And when you do, everything that's been waiting for your yes begins to stir. Doors that were rusted from disuse will creak open. The clarity that once seemed lost will return sharper than ever. Heaven will not waste a second chance. When you move, mercy moves with you. Remember, delay teaches, but it also tests. It exposes what you trust more, fear or faith. Heaven is calling you now to choose faith. Step, even if your legs tremble. Act, even if you don't see the full map. Obey, even if it costs you comfort. For obedience always precedes overflow. This message is not just another reminder, it's the final rehearsal before manifestation. Heaven's timing is perfect, but it waits for your participation. The warning in the delay is simple: move before mercy turns to silence. The time to rise has already come, and now, all heaven waits for one word: yes. When heaven speaks twice, it's never by mistake. The repetition itself is revelation. Every divine echo carries confirmation, and every confirmation carries covenant. You are hearing this again not because heaven doubts your ability to listen, but because heaven wants you to understand the weight of what you carry. The second voice is never the same as the first. It comes deeper, stronger, more personal. It doesn't simply remind you of destiny. It reveals your identity within it. The first message told you that you were chosen. The second message proves why. Heaven's voice repeats not to emphasize words, but to establish reality. When the Creator says something once, creation obeys, but when He says it twice, eternity records it. Repetition in heaven is legal binding. It seals what cannot be undone. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 2, verse 13. If we are faithless, He remains faithful, for He cannot deny Himself. That verse is the heart of divine repetition. Even when your faith wavered, even when you fell into silence, heaven remained steady. God's second call is His faithfulness echoing through your hesitation. He repeats Himself because He cannot deny what He created. That's how heaven speaks to those it loves. It doesn't chase. It reawakens. The echo doesn't come to entertain your curiosity. It comes to engage your calling. Each time you hear it, heaven is measuring your readiness. Think of it like waves on the shore. The sea doesn't strike the sand once and retreat forever. It returns, again and again, reshaping the landscape, smoothing the rough edges, reminding the earth that it belongs to the tide. Heaven works the same way. It sends waves of revelation, washing over your spirit until resistance softens into surrender. You may have ignored the first tide. You may have built barriers of doubt and distraction, but heaven is patient. It will keep returning until the fortress around your heart crumbles and your spirit finally yields. That's what this second voice is. It's not a warning, it's a washing. When heaven speaks twice, it's a cleansing. The repetition removes residue from your past. It untangles the knots of confusion and loosens the grip of fear. It makes you ready for renewal. This is why the message sounds familiar. It is. The divine doesn't reinvent, it reinforces. God doesn't rewrite what was perfect the first time. He simply reawakens what you once buried. And in that reawakening, something miraculous happens. Your discernment sharpens. You begin to notice what you missed before. The same scripture that once felt distant now pierces your heart. The same phrase that once confused you now makes you weep. Heaven's repetition unlocks revelation that wasn't accessible before. When heaven speaks twice, you are no longer hearing with human ears. You are perceiving with spiritual memory. Somewhere deep in your soul, you already know this voice. It is the same voice that spoke light into existence, the same tone that shaped mountains and whispered galaxies into being. And now, that same voice speaks your name again. You are the echo of that sound. That's why your spirit trembles when heaven speaks. It recognizes its source. The second message carries a gentleness the first one didn't need. It arrives not to convince, but to confirm. It no longer fights for your attention, it draws your agreement. Heaven has shifted from invitation to activation. And when that echo settles in you, it brings both peace and purpose. Peace, because you finally understand you were never forgotten. Purpose, because you now realize you were being refined for this very voice. This repetition is your reassurance that God's plan hasn't changed, even if your path has. The detours didn't delete your destiny, they deepened your dependence. Every echo from heaven carries a specific assignment to remind you that the promise is still alive. The same word spoken twice becomes law in the spirit. It becomes unbreakable. That's why you feel this certainty rising within you right now. You're not imagining it, you're aligning with it. Heaven has spoken, and the vibration of that word is moving through your timeline, restoring everything that was distorted by doubt. You are standing in the resonance of divine repetition. The echo has found its way home to your heart, your faith, your obedience. And when heaven speaks twice, the earth has no choice but to respond. So don't take this repetition lightly. It is not redundancy. It is reassurance. It is heaven's way of saying, I meant what I said. You are hearing the sound that angels recognize, the sound that darkness fears, the sound that destiny obeys, the sound of a promise being repeated until it becomes reality. Heaven has spoken again. This time, not just for you to hear, but for you to become the echo. The mantle returns. You can feel it before you can explain it, the slow, sacred weight settling on your shoulders again. It's not the same as before. It's heavier now, not because heaven changed, but because you've grown strong enough to carry it. What once felt like burden now feels like belonging. The mantle was never taken. It was waiting. When heaven chooses someone, it never revokes its choice. It may withdraw for a season to teach, to temper, to test, but it never cancels what was decreed. The mantle, the spiritual authority, the calling, the unseen assignment was always hovering above you, waiting for your return to readiness. You might remember how it felt when you first carried it, that electric awareness, that sense of divine companionship. But as the years passed, as the storms gathered, the fire dimmed, you thought you'd lost it. You thought the mistakes had made you unworthy. Yet heaven never stopped calling your name. It simply allowed silence to ripen you. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, the second letter, chapter 4, verse 7. But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. The second time you wear a mantle, you wear it differently. The first time, it was about passion. Now it's about purpose. The first time, you wanted to prove yourself. Now you just want to please heaven. The mantle is not a trophy, it's a trust, and heaven is trusting you again. There's a holy familiarity to it, like putting on a garment that once defined you. You sense the same anointing, but deeper. You hear the same voice, but clearer. You feel the same fire, but purer. That is the nature of restoration. It doesn't give you back what you lost. It gives you back more than you lost. When Elijah's mantle fell, it didn't fade, it waited. It found Elisha, the one who had been faithful enough to follow. That's what your journey has been, the long walk of following through heartbreak and silence. You have followed even when heaven seemed far. You have stayed even when others fled. And now, the waiting is ending. The mantle is being placed back upon your spirit, not because you earned it, but because you endured. Heaven values endurance more than brilliance. Many are gifted, but few stay faithful through fire. You did. The mantle doesn't erase your humanity, it redeems it. It takes everything that made you feel unworthy and weaves it into wisdom. It turns the lessons of pain into language for purpose. The scars become signatures of grace. You'll start to notice it again in the small things, the way your words carry more weight, the way your presence shifts atmospheres. Not because you've changed the world, but because the world begins to recognize the change in you. That is the evidence of the mantle's return. It doesn't shout, it radiates. This time, you will walk with quiet authority. You won't need validation, you'll carry revelation. You won't seek applause, you'll seek alignment. The mantle turns you from performer into prophet, from seeker into shepherd, and yet it will still test you. Mantles always come with mirrors. They show you your strength, but they also reveal your humility. They remind you that every gift carried without grace becomes a burden. Heaven doesn't give mantles to make you famous. It gives them to make you faithful. You are being entrusted again because you've learned what power feels like without presence. and you would never risk that loss again. So, let the mantle rest where it belongs on you. Let it teach you again. Let it burn gently this time, not as fire that consumes, but as fire that comforts. Let it draw others not to your name, but to His. Every chosen one must lose the mantle once, just to learn how precious it is when it returns. You now carry wisdom that only absence can teach. You know that the anointing is not fragile, but it is holy. You know that power without prayer collapses, and calling without character corrodes. You will never treat this mantle casually again. You will wear it with reverence, knowing the cost of its return. And heaven smiles at that posture, not because you are perfect, but because you are purified. This second mantle does not make you new, it reveals that you were never truly ordinary. It restores what was suspended, reignites what was silenced, reclaims what was nearly lost. And now, chosen one, you walk not as the seeker of a calling, but as the carrier of it. The mantle rests. The mission resumes. The messenger has matured. Heaven records your response. Every word you speak, every moment you choose faith over fear, every small act of obedience, it's all written. The unseen realm is not silent. It watches, it witnesses, it remembers. Your choices echo farther than you realize. There are angels assigned to you, their hands holding scrolls filled with moments you thought were forgotten. Your prayers whispered through tears. Your sacrifices that no one saw. Your forgiveness that cost everything. Heaven writes it all down, not to keep score, but to keep story. And the ink it uses is not judgment, it's grace. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 42, "If anyone gives a cup of cold water to one of these little ones of mine, they will surely not lose their reward." Right now, the record of your obedience is unfolding like a storybook before the throne of God. Your name is written in its chapters not as a forgotten character, but as one of the chosen. That's why this moment feels so heavy. You can sense the eyes of eternity watching, waiting to see what you'll do next. And this is where your next act of faith begins, not in grand gestures, but in small, sacred responses. You can like this message, not for vanity, but as an outward sign of inward agreement, a way of saying, I receive what heaven is saying. You can share it, not because it's content, but because it's calling. Someone else needs this same reminder that their obedience is being written. 2. When you share light, you multiply it. You turn your personal revelation into collective redemption. You can subscribe, not for entertainment, but for connection. Staying close to this stream of truth keeps your heart in rhythm with heaven's voice. In a world of noise, this is your anchor, a reminder that divine language still speaks in modern times. And if your heart feels stirred to donate, do it not as payment, but as participation. Think of it like adding oil to a lamp that burns in the night. Every offering keeps this flame alive, allowing it to reach another soul lost in darkness. You're not fueling a platform, you're fueling purpose. You're becoming a part of heaven's broadcast. When you give time, prayer, or resource, you're saying, I want this light to reach beyond me. And heaven records even that. Just as a drop of water becomes a ripple that reaches unseen shores, your act of generosity travels further than you can imagine. You are part of something sacred. You're part of heaven's documentation of hope. Every soul touched by what you share becomes a line written next to your name. Because heaven doesn't count followers, it counts fruit. But there's more. Your response doesn't just get recorded, it gets rewarded. Heaven responds to obedience with acceleration. The moment you align with the message, the moment you act instead of only hearing, movement begins in your life. Doors that once resisted you begin to open, not because of luck, but because obedience unlocks favor. You see, the universe itself was built to respond to faith. When you act in alignment with heaven, the world rearranges itself around your obedience. Provision finds you and peace covers you. People appear who were meant to walk this path with you, and though no one may see it, though your obedience might look small to the eyes of man, the heavens erupt every time you choose God over comfort. That's why your response matters, not because the message needs affirmation, but because your soul needs activation. When you engage, you transform from listener into doer, from observer into participant. The angels who recorded your first hesitation are now writing your surrender. The same heaven that once whispered to you now watches with joy as you rise into the fullness of what you were meant to be. And one day, when your story is replayed in eternity, this moment, the one you're in right now, will be marked as the turning point, the chapter where you stopped consuming truth and started carrying it. So respond in your way, engage deeply, reflect quietly. Leave a comment below, not as noise, but as declaration. Let your words testify. Tell heaven you are here, awake and willing. Because every comment is not just text, it's testimony. It's the sound of agreement echoing in the digital heavens. You are no longer the one being written about, you are now the one writing back. Heaven's scroll has space for your response. So act from sincerity. Speak from gratitude, and live from revelation. Because the eyes that watch you now are not critical, they're proud. The author himself smiles at the sight of his story continuing through you. The new marching orders come quietly, like dawn after a long night. Heaven doesn't shout them, it engraves them into your spirit. You feel it as an awareness, a clarity, a new rhythm pulsing beneath your ribs. The waiting has ended. The time of stillness has served its purpose. Now, heaven is saying, go. But this go is not frantic or loud, and it's not running without reason. It's a steady stride born of understanding. You've learned too much to move recklessly now. Every step you take carries wisdom harvested from wounds, direction refined by delay. The ancient words recorded in Joshua chapter 1 verse 9 echo across your heart. Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God is with you always. That's the sound of new orders being issued, not as a suggestion but as a charge. Heaven has recalibrated you through everything that came before, through loss, through lessons, through silence, and now you are ready to march again. But this time, you march differently. Before, you moved out of desperation. Now, you move out of revelation. Before, you ran trying to prove yourself. Now, you walk knowing you are already approved. The battlefield hasn't changed, but the warrior has. You no longer fight for validation, you fight from victory. These new marching orders don't come with a map, they come with a mantle. The path will reveal itself as you obey. Heaven doesn't show you everything at once because faith grows step by step. If you saw the full distance, you might doubt your ability to endure. But heaven knows your obedience today will unlock tomorrow's clarity. Marching orders always sound simple, but they demand everything. They require you to move even when no one else understands. They require you to believe even when results haven't shown up yet. They require you to trust that your commander sees the full battlefield even when you only see fog. That's what faith really is, not sight, but surrender. You have learned that now. You have learned that obedience is louder than explanation, that trust speaks even when your lips are silent. Heaven's command to you now is not about speed, it's about steadiness. You're not running ahead of grace anymore, you're walking in step with it. Each move you make will carry divine synchronization. Doors will open when you arrive, not because of luck, but because of alignment. You have been prepared for this. The confusion you endured trained your discernment. The rejection you faced built your resilience. The seasons of delay strengthened your dependence. Every hardship was heaven's way of drilling discipline into your spirit. Now, when the enemy whispers lies, you recognize the tone. When distractions appear, you see through them. When fear tries to return, you remember who commands your steps. These are not the same feet that stumbled before they have been washed in tears and set upon solid ground. You walk differently now. You don't drift, you advance. You don't react, you respond. And with every movement, the atmosphere shifts. Your obedience becomes a vibration that heaven amplifies. Angels take position as you move. Territory begins to realign. People you haven't even met yet are being prepared to meet you. That's how divine orders work. They ripple through the unseen long before they manifest in the visible. Heaven has already gone ahead of you. The command is already echoing in realms you can't see, clearing obstacles you don't even know exist. So walk forward, not timidly, but tenderly. There's strength in gentleness when it's guided by conviction. Every word you speak now carries weight. Every decision you make sends ripples through eternity. Your new orders are not about conquest, they're about cultivation. You are not called to dominate, you are called to deliver, to bring peace where chaos has reigned, to bring truth where confusion has ruled, to bring healing where silence has settled. You are heaven's envoy, and every act of love is warfare in disguise. This new phase of your calling will not look like the last. It will be quieter but deeper, smaller but stronger. Heaven is teaching you the power of precision. One obedient step can shift more than 1,000 restless ones. The path may not always feel glorious. Some days will feel mundane, uncelebrated. But heaven doesn't measure by applause, it measures by alignment. You're not walking for visibility, you're walking for victory. And though your orders feel personal, they are connected to a larger orchestration. Heaven is moving many chosen ones at once, each in their own direction, but toward one divine design. You are one piece in a living mosaic that will reveal glory when all are in place. So don't look for comparison, look for confirmation. Don't measure your progress by speed, measure it by surrender. These are your marching orders. Move with purpose. Speak with purity, love without limits, and guard your peace like sacred ground. The fulfillment of the second call begins not with noise, but with stillness. After the storms, after the echoes, after the tears, there comes a quiet so sacred it almost feels like peace wearing a crown. You have arrived not at the end, but at the unfolding. The promise has not only been spoken, it has begun to breathe. You stand now at the threshold of everything that was once postponed. Heaven's timing and your obedience have finally met. What was suspended in the unseen has found anchor in your reality. The second message, the one that haunted your dreams and burned within your chest, has now become motion. Heaven speaks again, and this time not as instruction, but as affirmation. You did it, the Spirit whispers. You listened this time. The weight you feel lifting off you is not exhaustion leaving, it's purpose arriving. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. The fulfillment of the second call is not about arrival, it's about awakening. You are stepping into a rhythm that heaven has been humming over your life since before time began. You are no longer reaching for purpose. You are walking inside of it. Look around at what has changed. The people who remain are those who see your spirit, not your struggle. The peace that covers you now is not shallow. It's anchored. You no longer chase signs. You are one. You no longer plead for confirmation. You carry conviction. This is what obedience produces: quiet strength, the kind of confidence that doesn't need to prove itself because it's rooted in presence, not performance. You have become steady not because the storms stopped, but because you learned how to stand in them. The second call fulfilled doesn't look glamorous. It looks like clarity. It looks like sleeping deeply again. It looks like waking up knowing you are exactly where you need to be. This fulfillment feels gentle because heaven never rushes restoration. It unfolds like sunrise, soft, patient, inevitable. You don't have to force anything anymore. What belongs to you recognizes you now. What once resisted you now receives you. You have changed frequency. The same people who once misunderstood you won't be able to reach you in the same way. Not because you are distant, but because your vibration has elevated. You are resonating at heaven's pitch now. Fulfillment feels like peace, but it also feels like purpose. You wake up with a sense of assignment that hums beneath every thought. You move differently, speak differently, even breathe differently. The second call didn't just tell you what to do, it reminded you who you are. You are not merely called, you are commissioned. Heaven has graduated you from listening to leading, from surviving to serving, from questioning to carrying. The message that once found you broken now finds you built. And yet, this fulfillment isn't closure, it's continuation. God doesn't finish stories, He unfolds them. What began as a whisper has become a walk, and this walk will become a witness. Every step you take now writes testimony into the earth. People will meet you and feel peace without knowing why. They'll hear your voice and feel conviction wrapped in compassion. You will speak, and heaven will echo through you not because you are loud, but because you are aligned. You are not the same one who ignored the first call. You are not even the same one who trembled when the second arrived. You are the one who answered. And in answering, you became the message. The fulfillment of the second call is not a reward, it's a responsibility. You've been trusted with truth, and truth demands to be lived. Every action, every word, every silence from now on will carry heaven's tone. You are the continuation of the divine dialogue between eternity and earth. You have stepped into rhythm with heaven's heartbeat. That's what fulfillment sounds like, syncopation between creator and creation. And when you look back one day, you'll see that the hardest seasons were not detours but directions. The delays were not denials, they were designs. The pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Now, you carry the fullness of the message you once feared. You've become both the receiver and the revealer. The second call was never just about what heaven said, it was about who heaven shaped you to become while saying it. This is fulfillment, not an ending, but the holy beginning of a life finally in sync with its source. The voice still speaks, yes, but now it speaks through you. Chosen one, you've reached the end of this divine message, but endings in heaven are never final. They're invitations. What you've just heard isn't meant to fade when the words stop. It's meant to live inside you, shaping the way you see, speak, and walk. If this message touched you, if it reminded you that heaven still sees you, still calls you, then help it reach another heart still waiting to hear. You can like this message as a small act of agreement, saying quietly, I receive this. You can share it because your simple action might become someone else's divine interruption. You can comment below, share what you felt. Or simply write, "I'm here." Every word you leave is a spark of testimony that tells heaven the message landed. And you can subscribe, not for numbers, but to stay near the stream of words that keep your faith alive when the world grows loud. The message has reached its final line, but its echo continues through you. Carry it forward gently, boldly, faithfully.